Okay, so in this section, we're going to go through and show you how to fire up a virtual machine that'll be responsible for running Server 2008 R2. Now, you're going to see a lot of similarities during the installation process, especially across Windows platforms. The configuration of them, though, does take a little bit of time to get used to, but let's go ahead and jump back into our Hyper-V server. So here you can see we've got the Server 2012 box up and running. That's cool. We're going to go through and fire up a new one. We're going to select a new virtual machine. Here comes our 4-hour wizard again. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to type in here EH-server 2008 R2. It says, where do you want to store this machine? Again, we're going to change it to our location where we have our CEH project folder. And I have a subdirectory here called VMs. There's the Server 2012 box. We're going to put it inside of this folder. And it should make a subfolder for me that represents that server. We'll hit next. I'm going to go ahead and take the default here, Gen 1, and we can go through and put in as much memory as you want to utilize. But again, these machines are just used for testing. Technically, Microsoft says that their server will run on 512K of memory. Wow, that was a mistake, wasn't it? 512 meg. It was Bill Gates who said we didn't need more than 512K, or actually it was 640K. Anyway, yeah, you can run a server on 512 megs of memory, but it's not a pretty picture. It can be done, but you're not going to be happy. So for this particular environment, I'm just going to fire this up with 2 gigs of memory. Now, obviously, again, in a production environment, you wouldn't have something that low typically. I'm going to hit next, asking me which network I want to hook into. We'll go into the hacking network, hit next, and it says, what's the name of this hard drive that represents this machine? Well, it gave it the name of the computer that I'm firing up. It also says that it'll create a subdirectory for me named after that computer with a subdirectory or virtual hard disk, and that's where it'll place it. The default of 127 gigs. Again, just remember that this is saying that the virtual machine itself will see that it has 127 gigs, but the file will only take up as much hard drive space as there's actually information inside the virtual machine. So it's kind of interesting. You can actually, we call this thin provisioning, and you could actually end up over allocating by accident, meaning that, you know, I go through here and put in here that's equal to 64 terabytes. But if I only got 3 gigs available on my hard drive, the physical drive runs out of space, but the virtual machine thinks it still has a ton left over. But I'm just going to go ahead and take the defaults here because we're not going to even get close to the 127 gigs, but I really don't care because, again, it's dynamically expanding. I'm going to hit next, and I'm going to install this from a CD. Well, I should say an ISO, emulate a CD. We're going to mount an ISO as a CD or DVD drive. I'm going to go ahead and hit Browse, and we're going to find our Server 2008 trial ISO. And I'm going to hit Next. I get my summary screen, and then I'm going to hit Finished. So you can see I've got the machine now. Let's go ahead and fire this bad boy up. We'll connect up to it first, and then we'll go ahead under Actions and select to start it. After the hamsters have ran around the wheel for a second, we then get the option of selecting our language and time, currency, and keyboard. I'm going to just hit Next. It says, do you want to install now? Yes, we'd like to install. And I apologize if this is kind of small. I have a hard time blowing this one up because of the fact that we have not loaded up any device drivers or video drivers. I'm then going to select which operating system I'd like to install, and I'm going to use a standard edition full install. Don't select the core. If you select a core, you're going to get an operating system installed, but it's going to be all ran from DOS, and that's not what this class is about. And you don't need to be using Enterprise or Data Center or the Web Server Edition just because of what we're trying to accomplish in this lab. I'll hit Next. I'm going to accept the EULA. I want to hit Next again. I'm going to make sure that I hit, again, a custom install. Again, you can do an upgrade. If you do an upgrade, it just tells you that there's nothing there, so you can't do anything there. So we're going to hit Closed. We do an install again. Again, we'll hit the full edition, accept the EULA. And I don't know why they have this as a default, but just get in the habit of hitting Custom. It picks up the hard drive. Look, see, it thinks it's 127 gigs. We'll hit Next. And we're going to let this go through and copy the files over and do the installation. Okay, it's going to try to do the updates, but obviously since I'm not hooked up to the internet, it's not going to do anything. We can wait for the green bar to go across, or we can go ahead and select to restart now, which I'll do. Again, don't press any key, otherwise you'll boot from DVD, and again, you'll end up reinstalling. We don't want to do that. Helping to build up the registry now. It's going to come back to the setup screen. And it's going to go through one more reboot, and during that it'll do a HAL detection or a plug-and-play detection. And you'll notice our screen got a little bit bigger. Here comes the detection of the hardware. Okay, so the first time in, it tells me that I have to set up a password that will be an administrative password for the local machine. So I'm going to hit OK. This is what's the password. We're going to use our top secret password, which is capital P, A, $, W0RD. I'll repeat that. We'll go ahead and hit Next. Tells me that it changed it successfully. We'll hit OK. Now you're going to think that it's done setting up, but it's not. There we go. What we're looking for is this initial configuration task. It'll actually help you to set this box up. First thing is activate Windows. We don't need to do that right now because we're not on the internet. We don't need to activate it. We will want to go ahead and set our time zone. And I happen to be Mountain Time Zone. Hit OK. When I configure my networking, here's my network adapter. Now it's having a problem identifying it because there's no DNS server involved and there's no DHCP server. So I'm going to just go to the properties for this network adapter, go into the IPv4 connection setting, and I'm going to change this to be a static IP address. And if you remember from the first server, we were using the 192. Oops, got to make sure that numlock is on. You would think that computers should be smart enough to turn that on. We're going to go 192.168.0, and if you remember, we did .10 for the first server. This one we'll do, how about 15? That way there we'll just go in increments of 5. We'll leave this as 22255 for the subnet mask. Default gateway, we don't need one because we're not getting outside of our network here. And for the preferred DNS, I'm just hitting tab to go through these keys, but you could also, or go through these fields, but you could also use your mouse. For the DNS, we're going to use that 2012 R2 box, which, if you recall, is 192.168.0.10. Now, if you're using a different IP address range for all your virtual machines, just make sure you map it out or write it down so you understand which machines you're hitting. I want to hit OK. Hit OK again. And again, it's going to say unidentified network, and that's OK. It then says, okay, the next step is to go through and provide a computer name and a domain. Now, I always phrase it this way, is that Microsoft, when you turn the machine on, they know that you have to have a computer name. They have no idea what to call it, so they just give it Win with a random alphanumeric character. So we're going to change this so it's equal to server 08 R2. And by the way, I would probably never do this in the real world because I'm going to, by naming your computer after the OS or having any type of OS identification and the computer name, it makes it extremely easy for me to footprint you and figure out what type of machine you're running. So I'm going to, again, we're trying to make this lab so it is hackable so you can see the vulnerabilities and options or attacks that could be coming at you. We'll go ahead and hit OK. It's going to tell me that I need to restart the machine. I'm going to hit OK. And when I hit close, it's going to want to restart, but I'm going to restart later because there are a couple other things I want to do here. The other thing I want to do is I want to come down here to configure my firewall. You don't need to worry about doing the automatic updates or downloading your updates just because, again, it's not hooked up to the internet. And roles and features we're going to do on the next reboot. So we're going to come down to the firewall. We'll just click on the firewall option. If you remember, we're going to go through and just turn the firewall off. And I'm probably going to get an error popping up here down in my action center. Let's go ahead and close this and see if it gives me the error. Well, we'll probably see it pop back up, but regardless, after you close down the initial configuration wizard, we have the server manager. This is the server manager from 08. One of the things you're going to want to do is disable that annoying Internet Explorer enhanced security configuration. If you don't disable this, if you've never seen it before, it is very, very, what's the phrase? I want to kill it. Is that a good phrase? Is that a phrase somewhere? This is where when you open up Internet Explorer, every single web page, including Microsoft.com, it kicks out on a server and says, are you sure you really want to allow this page to be displayed? So we're just turning this off. I'm going to hit OK. And you'll notice here it says that the console can't refresh until the computer's been restarted. I think I've done almost everything I want to do without doing the restart. You can either click on this restart button here, or I can come down to start, and we'll just select to restart. It's going to say, why do you want to restart? Because I said so. We'll just take a generic one here, hardware maintenance. We'll hit OK. Again, we don't want to hit any key when that reboots. In fact, what you can do after you've installed, you can come into the media section and select that you want to eject the ISO, and then you won't see that pop up anymore. Okay, we're going to go ahead and log back in under our actions, throw Control-Delete, log in as our administrator using our password. Okay, and then we want to enable the SNMP service on this box, just like we did the 2012 R2 machine. So we're going to come over here to our features, and we're going to add a feature. Oh, let's not show this anymore. Let's close it. I'll show you the other way of adding it. Inside the Server Manager console, we can just simply come down here to Features and select to add a feature. And I'm going to scroll down and install my SNMP services. Hit Next, Install, and hit Closed. Now, the other thing we want to do is once we've installed this, if you remember from the 2012 box, we need to come into the services, and I'm just typing in service, and I can select services, and I'm going to scroll down to my SNMP section. There it is. You can see that it's currently running. If you'll remember, we go into Properties, Security, and we're going to add a community string, or we're going to accept a community name, and that community name will have read access to this box, and the name will be public. And we're also going to change it so that we accept SNMP packets from any host. We hit OK, and we hit OK again. Next, I'm going to go through and add our local users. If I expand out our configuration section, come down to our users and groups, highlight users, you'll notice again the administrator account is there. I'm going to right click and select I'd like to create a new user. And the first user is B. Wayne. First name is Bruce Wayne. His password was Batman. And again, he doesn't have to change his password. I hit create. Oh, we forgot the complexity requirements. So you guys got to see me goof up. Yeah, so we need to disable those complexity requirements. Now this is another easy one, relatively easy one to get to. We're going to just go into the admin tools. And remember, we go into the local security policy. We're going to expand out the local policies, come down to passwords, and there it is right there. It's interesting, by default, this is enabled on a server box, and you're going to see something different when we get to the desktop platforms. But we'll go ahead and double click this. We're going to disable it. And now let's go back and create that account again. New user, B. Wayne, Bruce Wayne. Password, Batman. Doesn't have to change. That should accept that now. Very good. Then we do Dick Grayson. D. Grayson. Full name Dick Grayson. Password was Robin. And again, you can use whatever passwords you want for your lab environment. And then we also had Hal Jordan. And his password was Green. Anybody? Anybody? Green Lantern. Very good. That's first Green Lantern. We'll hit create, and then we'll do C. Kent. His full name is Clark Kent. Anybody? Anybody? Yeah. If you don't know who Clark Kent is, you have officially flunked my geek test. So his password is super. And hit create. Okay, so the other thing I want to do, just quickly, is make sure that I'm able to communicate with the other machine. So I'm going to open up a PowerShell command. You could do this with a standard command prompt. As you get, how should I say this, more mature with your knowledge of the Windows platform, you will find yourself going to PowerShell all the time, because I can do a lot of commands from PowerShell that I would normally do at a command line interface, as well as I can easily move in and out. And I'll show you that here. First of all, I'm going to make this biggie size so you guys can see it all. And I just have my little standards that I do. Plus, you know me, I need a little Batman going on here, so we'll get the yellow text with the background being black. There we go. So from PowerShell, I can just simply type in a CMD to open up a command prompt. And when I'm done doing stuff in a command prompt, I can type in exit. And I only need to do that if PowerShell doesn't recognize a command prompt executable, such as ping. And I happen to know that ping does work in PowerShell, so I don't need to go to that command line interface. I can just do it from PowerShell. And we'll type in 192.168.0.10. Hey, we can hit that box. So we'll just type in, actually, I'm not going to exit that. I'm going to just clear that out, and we'll minimize that. We'll also go through quickly and just make sure, for example, the screensaver is turned off. It should be on a server. We'll just type in screen, and we should see screensaver. Yep, it's turned off. Okay, so that box is set up. So here we went through and talked about how we could install Server 2008 R2 on our virtual machine. Up next, we're going to install the desktop platform being Windows 8.1.